Namaste. My name is Todd and I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. Welcome to Asana Spotlight. Please take a moment and share this video with your friends, spread the peace. And I wanted to let you know of the monthly membership that Ashaya is doing now, and it's called Pillars of Peace. And it's a regular 3 days a week morning sadhana of spiritual practice, meditation, and asana practices with lots of great tantric teachings, and it even includes an immersion workshop. So this one's coming up near the end of the month on February 26th. And it's called The Engaged Heart. February as the month of the heart. February is a month of a lot of things, Black History Month, and this idea of the full embrace of all diversity. So I'm going to do a posture today. It's a very common posture, but we're going to do it in an unusual way. It's called Virabhadrasana II, or the warrior pose. Veerbhadra was an incredible warrior figure in some of the myths of the yogic history and philosophy. And his main sort of claim to fame was this idea of courage and determination. And as Ashaya is the path of the heart, it takes a lot of courage and determination to stay connected to your heart. Part of it is because the nature of the heart itself is paradoxical. In order for it to sustain itself, it has to contract and expand. These two things are happening all the time. As long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, you're going to have the heart that's pumping. Hopefully it's pumping at a good, healthy rhythm, not too fast, not too slow. So the heart seeks to find the place in the middle. The heart is also in the center of the chakra system, our energy centers. There's 3 spiritual chakras above and 3 worldly chakras below, and the heart is really maintaining this balance of our divine nature and our human nature, that we are the beings right in the middle between both this unlimited aspect of ourselves, open to all possibilities, and the limitation of just what it is to live in a limited time frame. We all have a lifespan. We have the hours of the day. There's a limitation. One of the tantric teachings that I love is how to live in the heart and how to really embrace this entire paradox that we're two things at the same time, and they're kind of opposite. To be human and divine, we have our instincts, our desires, our passions, and then we have this kind of unconditional light, unconditional love. And how do we reconcile the two? So instead of thinking that this is a problem and life is a problem, then the Tantra Yogis are going to say, instead of trying to solve the problem, we're not here to solve any problems. We're here to manage the paradox. And I love that idea, because then it gets us out of doing right and wrong, that the process of the heart is to sense and feel, savor the experience we're having, and learn how to embrace the full spectrum of life and who we are. And oftentimes we see that there are a lot of contrasts in life. There's constant opposition, okay? You don't believe me? Just try to go into a relationship and stay there. You will find very quickly a difference of opinion, conflict, and we see that, of course, everywhere. It is the nature of life. So instead of trying to get rid of this conflict, life is built on conflict. It's a whole other perspective. So learning how to manage the paradox is how to make these contrasts complementary, how to make them work together. If conflict truly is the nature of life, how can we utilize that? Same thing when challenges arise in life. Challenges come not because you did something wrong or you're bad or you need to be punished. Think of challenges as they only come when you're ready for a promotion. The challenges come to test us and to instruct and help us to find another way, perhaps a higher way, and ultimately an easier way. And when we rise up courageously to meet our challenges, that's when we grow. That's when we have the biggest insights in life. So this whole idea of learning how to find the place in the middle describes very accurately the journey of the heart. So the place in the middle is known as Madhya, M-A-D-H-Y-A, which basically means middle. It's the place in the middle, and it refers to this threshold space that exists between the opposites, between our humanity and our divinity. There's a place where we go. It's like a third place where we're neither our human self or not quite yet our divine self. And the idea is to find the place in the middle there, because that's the place where we have a conscious ability to make a choice. We see both sides of the situation. Think of a door threshold. You can look into the future. You can see and feel what's happening in your past. And this place in the middle of the threshold is when you're absolutely in the present moment, where you can embrace all parts of life, past, present, and future. And when we're in the middle, we make decisions not from our reactions. We make decisions from careful consideration, from our discernment, and we usually decide much better, and things go better. So today, in the practice of Warrior 2, we're going to see how the very instruction I'm going to give you is contradictory, and we're going to learn how to find the place where these contrasts become complementary. And when you have that, you're in the place in the middle, which is the heart, and that's how we align. And in Ashaya Yoga, it's a practice of aligning body, mind, and heart. And just by doing it physically, it helps us get more connected to our heart, so we can follow that and stay within the boundaries of the heart, where we feel good, where we feel healthy, whole, and complete. All right, join me. Come to a standing position on your mat. We're going to do a couple warm-ups. To do the warrior pose, it helps to open the hips. We have to get the hips open. Creates a lot of strength in the legs. It's even going to raise your Agni, or the heat, which is really good. And then we're going to do a little bit of side stretching. I'm going to show you a variation. We'll do Warrior 2, and we'll do what's called the reversed Warrior 2. So come to the front of your mat. Stand with your feet parallel, hip distance apart. Lift and spread your toes. Allow the bottoms of your feet to just widen and spread. As you lift the toes, the feet widen. Palms in front. Take your thigh bones back, which helps create the low back curve. And then, keeping the curve, pull your tailbone in, and see if you can do both of these two actions together. So right off, these are two opposite actions. So let's see if we can find the place in the middle. Thigh bones back. That means the center of the top of the thigh moves back, and we want to place it directly vertical over the ankles. And then keeping that, so don't move your thighs. You've got them back beautifully. You just generated a low back curve, which is the healthiest thing you can do for your low back. But there's too much curve. So pull your tailbone down without moving your thighs forward. And when you do that, in essence, you're doing two things at the same time. Find the place in the middle. And the place in the middle with the spines, when you have both curve and length. And when you're in the place in the middle, you get really happy. And your body also feels really happy. We have both, openness and determination. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Hinge from your hips. Bend your knees a bit to come down. If you can't touch the floor, you're going to take 2 blocks like this. Put your hands on the blocks. Again, lift your toes. Make sure your feet haven't turned. Usually when we bend forward, the patterns of the muscles in our habits will even misalign our feet. So come back into alignment. The front ankle and second toe lines should be parallel. Lift your toes and you'll see the lines. Those are the metatarsals, the name of the bone there, bones in the feet. And with your toes lifted, now take your thigh bones back again. Pull your tailbone in. Inhale, lift your heart halfway forward, and then exhale and fold. Do this a few times. Find your own natural breath rhythm. When you lift your heart forward, let yourself shine the light of your courage to follow your heart. And as you exhale, more determination to stay in the place in the middle. Back and forth.
And here we balance courage and determination. Continue. Now, exhale and step your left foot back into a lunge. And again, if you're using blocks, chances are it'll feel really good to have the blocks here underneath your hands. Okay? And if you can reach all the way down to the floor, then do that. Find your breath. Soften the back of your heart. And then with determination, hug your legs to the middle. Lift your left thigh up a little bit. Take the right hip back and down. And then lower your left knee. Put your right hand on your right leg. And then twist. Look up to the right. Take your shoulders back, especially the right shoulder. And sometimes you'll hear a pop or a crack in your spine. As long as there's no pain associated with those cracks, that's fine. Hug your legs in toward the middle a little bit more. And then exhale. Release, step the back foot forward. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, switch sides. Right foot back. Hold for a moment. So where might the place in the middle be here? Well, it's in the hips and pelvis, right between the legs. So scissor your legs. So pull your front foot isometrically backwards. And at the same time, try to press your right hip forward. And when you engage your legs like that, your pelvic floor is going to lift a little bit. And that lift gives you the support that we're going to need once we get into Warrior II pose. Lift the top of the right thigh up. Take the outer left hip crease back. Yeah. When your thighs go back, you open up a little bit. So courage to open. It widens the sitting bones. But then pull your tailbone in. Outer left hip crease goes back and down with determination. And then exhale. Lower your back knee, left hand to the left leg. Continue to hug your legs to the middle. And then twist. Lift your heart up toward the left, and then left shoulder back. Find the place in the middle. Every pose, there's a sweet spot. So there's no need to torture yourself. It's not a self-torture session. And we want to feel the stretch. So if I were to say, okay, find the place in the middle with your stretch, you want to find the place that's just short of pain, that perhaps is a little uncomfortable, but not too much. So I call it mild, tolerable discomfort. And then when you hug into that, just scissor your legs, squeeze your legs toward the middle, and breathe. Then from your pelvis, root down, and from your pelvis, lift your heart. Suddenly, what felt like it was a little bit painful starts to open up. And then often you'll feel a rush of energy when tensions that we've held previously let go. And when that happens, you know you're in the place in the middle. Another indicator of the place in the middle is that your breath is easy and it flows. If you can't breathe, chances are you're forcing something. All right, exhale, release. Step back, downward facing dog pose. Claw your finger pads and roots and pull up from your hands to your heart. Rather than collapse down, pull up and alternately press one heel toward the floor, then the other. After you do a few with the heel going straight back, then when you stretch your foot toward the floor, like bend your left knee and press your right foot down, turn your right foot out a little bit and press toward the outer heel, and then switch. So you're doing a little dance step here with your feet, and this is going to open up your hips a bit more. Of course, hamstrings, calves, getting a stretch. Bend both knees. And bend your knees a lot, and then interrotate your thighs. See if you can draw the low back curve. You got to really lift the sitting bones. Keeping the curve now, add the complementary contrast. You pull your tailbone in. Root the base of your shins back. Same thing in the shoulders. Pull up from your hands to your heart and lift your armpits up while at the same time you melt the upper thoracic spine right between the shoulder blades. Try to find the place in the middle there. So armpits lift, but at the same time keep your heart super soft. This is like the game of the heart. Okay, where's the place in the middle here? How can I make these contrasts complementary? Then push from your heart to your hands. From your heart, you can root back as much as you can towards your heels. Stretch your calves even more. Wonderful. And then step by step, walk in, root down through your feet, sweep your arms out to the side, and inhale, come all the way up. But even as you reach up, root your feet down. And then exhale, release. Palms in front. Find the place in the middle, right between your palms. Okay, let's do the pose now. Take a wide stance, face the front. Make your feet parallel. So a couple technical details. We want to work on the foundation of the pose, because if the foundation isn't steady, then the rest of the pose is going to be wobbly. It's like, a building. If the foundation is cracked, then there's going to be problems. So feet parallel. How wide? Well, stretch your arms out. Anatomically, for most people, not everyone, but we want to get the ankles out as wide as the wrists are wide. So just kind of eyeball it. Now, if you have injuries in your legs, or you're just really, really stiff, or feeling very, very weak, then maybe you'll bring your feet in an inch or two more. Plus, another thing you can do, just if balance is an issue for you, is if you grab a chair and you put a chair right, you won't be able to see my pose, but just for a moment like this, and you got to have the back of the chair toward you. What's great is that you can have your hands on the chair like this. It just creates so much more stability. Feet wide, ankles and wrists, feet parallel. And then hands to your hips, keep your left foot square, turn your right foot all the way open. And the next part is how to get, where to place the foot. So your right heel should bisect the center of the back foot. And again, if you have tighter hips, then you want a little more lateral width, more space laterally. So you can move your right foot a little bit out to the right so you get more like heel to heel. And that should help. Find your breath, hug your legs in the middle, and then bend your knee. And this is the pose. Here's the full pose with the arms out. But keep your hands on your hips for a moment. Open to the bigger energy. Open to the heart. And then squeeze in toward the midline. Just pull your legs toward each other. The position of your front knee needs to be center knee in line with toe 2 and 3. And here's where the fun starts, because I'm going to tell you, inner rotate your thighs and stick your butt out, take your thighs back. And the tendency in this pose is that the back leg, the back thigh, tends to pop forward. I'm going to try to give you a side view here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so this is the middle of the top of the thigh. We want this over the ankle. I'm going to go more like this so you can see my foot. Typically, this is how we do the pose. You guys see the angle here? The hip is way forward of the ankle. So, when I say thighs back, watch what happens. Whoa. Okay, so we want the thigh to go that far back. But the problem, did you see my front knee go in? Here, watch again. Okay, that's the issue with this pose. So as soon as you take your back thigh back, which is good alignment, your knee drops to the inside. Okay. So what do we do about that? Okay, your knee is over the ankle. Get your stance wide enough so your front thigh approaches parallel. Doesn't have to go all the way parallel, but
the more closely your front thigh goes parallel to the floor, uh, the hotter the pose gets. So you can decide here. All right, hug your legs, take your thigh bones back, get the thigh bone back, and just look that your top of your thigh is even with your ankle. Now, pull your tailbone in. Notice your knee went over to the big toe. But if you draw your tailbone down and especially externally rotate your right thigh, your knee is then, it just drives to the right. And we want to get the center of the knee in line with toe 2 and 3. All right, so that's a little play, because as soon as you adjust your knee, your thigh popped forward. So thighs back, maintain that as best you can, and then pull your tailbone in. Courage, thighs back to stay open, and then determination to stay on the path of the heart. Stretch your arms. There's the warrior 2. Turn your palms up, externally rotate your arms. Bring your wrists forward, and then pull your core back so the armpits go back. And then stretch your wrists back so they're in line with the shoulder. And then keep your shoulder blades hugged onto your back ribs, externally rotated, yet turn your lower arm in and the palms face the floor. Very good. Look out over your right fingers. And we'll go into reverse warrior 2 before the front leg burns off. So left hand back to the left thigh. Stretch your right arm up. Breathe into your ribs. We want to stretch from the waistline, from the hip all the way up into the shoulder. And you arch back and breathe. Inhale, come up to center. Stretch the leg straight, hands to hips. And let's rest. Walk your feet in. Take a moment. So usually we can hold for about 45 seconds or a minute. When we start holding longer, like that was probably a minute and a half. It builds strength, so it's good. But rest as you need to. Second side. Let's review some of the techniques. So how wide do you get your ankles? Oh, as wide as your wrists are wide. Square your feet, hands to hips. Right foot stays parallel to the short edge. Turn your left foot out. Where should your heel be aligned? To the middle of the back foot. Hug your legs to the middle and bend. The reason why we hug in before we bend is just to protect the knee joint. It's a little precaution. All right. Now, thigh bones back, and particularly look at your right thigh and make sure that you've got the top center of your thigh in line with the ankle. And okay, take a look at your left knee. Okay, we let it go over toward the big toe because first we've got to set the thigh back. Stick your butt back behind you. And when you inter-rotate your thighs, do it evenly on both front and back legs. That's going to generate the curve. And now we find the balance. So you got to keep all of that. Don't change a thing. And then pull your tailbone in without pushing your thigh forward. Start to wrap the left buttock muscles down and back. And then you may have to adjust the center of your knee so it's in line with toe 2 and 3. As you do that, make sure the back thigh stays back. Inhale, stretch your arms out. Another issue with this pose is we tend to lean with the torso. See if you can get your torso absolutely perpendicular. And then look out over your left fingers. Good. Hug in again. Pull from your fingertips to your shoulders. Turn your palms up. Wrists forward, armpits back. Then wrists back, palms down. Look out over your fingers. Check your knee again. Thighs back, tailbone in. Find the place in the middle. And then go into reverse warrior 2, right hand down, left arm up, and stretch. Descend your left thigh a little bit more. Even as you're going sort of the opposite way, bend your knee and go even further forward. Find your breath. Find the place in the middle. Balance the opposites. The path of the heart is always making contrast complementary. And then root down through your feet. Inhale, come up. Hands to hips. Step your feet back together. Fold forward into Uttanasana. Grab your blocks. Touch the floor. And breathe. Feel the increase of blood flow, warmth, of course, courage and determination. Relax your head, neck, and shoulders. And then root down through your feet. Sweep your arms out to the side. Come up. Exhale, release. Arms out to your sides. Palms in front of your heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Let yourself breathe and dwell in the Madhya, the place in the middle. Find that place between our limited nature and our unlimited nature. Go into the place in the heart. Find the place of balance. And when we have the balance of courage and determination to flow in the path of the heart opens. And you recognize your true nature, which is joy and freedom and bliss. Let's take a deep breath in and we'll chant Om. Om. Namaste. All right, have a great day. Bring this courage and determination out with you as you go about your day. Thank you so much. Check out the February classes, ashayayoga.com, and you can register there. Hope to see you. Bye now. Please share this video with your friends. Take care.